Okay, this presentation will discuss the development of corporation law in the Philippines. At the end of this presentation, you should be able to demonstrate the progress of corporation law in the Philippines from the Spanish time up to the present, and formulate a working comprehension of the evolution of corporation law in the Philippines. During the Spanish regime, there was a concept called Sociedad Anónima, provided under the Code of Commerce. So this was used during the Spanish times, and it was said to be very much like the English joint stock company, and it also has features resembling those of a partnership. So this Sociedad Anónima is kinda like a mixture of a stock company and a partnership. Our corporation law was Act number 1459 or Act 1459. This was enacted by the Philippine Commission under Howard Taft, and it became effective on April 1, 1906. So, under this law, the Americans introduced into the Philippines the concept of corporation as the standard commercial entity. And Act 1459 expressly repealed the Code of Commerce insofar as it relates to Sociedades Anónimas. So the Sociedad Anónima under the Spanish Code of Commerce has been repealed by the enactment of Act number 1459. So Act number 1459 was our primary law on corporations for 74 years. When in 1980, a new corporation code of the Philippines was enacted by the Batasang Pambansa, which came to be Batas Pambansa bilang 68 or BP 68. BP 68 became effective on May 1, 1980. BP 68 adopted the various corporate doctrines enunciated by the Supreme Court under the old corporation law or Act number 1459 during its 74 year of history. So BP 68 clarified the obligations of corporate directors and officers. It expressed in statutory language the established principles and doctrines, and provided for a chapter on closed corporations. So if we look at the repealing clause of BP 68, there was no express repeal of the old corporation law or Act 1459. It only stated that all laws or parts thereof inconsistent with the provisions of BP 68 are deemed repealed. So the provisions of Act 1459 which are not inconsistent with BP 68 are still effective. Just recently, in 2019, Republic Act number 11232 was enacted by Congress and became the revised Corporation Code of the Philippines. Republic Act number 11232 became effective on February 23, 2019. So this is the current statute that pertains to corporations in the Philippines. So RA 11232 provided for the perpetual term of corporations. It introduced the concept of one-person corporation. Under RA 11232, there is no more minimum capital stock. And participation in meetings via remote communications or in absentia are now allowed. It authorized the creation of an emergency board of directors. And it provided for electronic filing and monitoring system of corporations. If we look at the repealing clause of RA 11232, it actually expressly repealed BP 68, and yet there is still no mention of Act 1459 or the old corporation law. This repealing clause only stated that any law, presidential decree, and so on and so forth, which are contrary or inconsistent with any provisions of RA 11232 are hereby repealed or modified accordingly. Thus, it is my opinion that the provisions of Act 1459 or the old corporation law, which are not contrary or inconsistent with BP 68 as well as RA 11232, are still effective today. To recap, the Sociedad Anónima under the Code of Commerce was used during the Spanish times. When the Americans came, they introduced the concept of corporation in the Philippines through the enactment of Act number 1459. After 74 years, BP 68 or the Corporation Code of the Philippines was signed into law. And in 2019, RA 11232 or the Revised Corporation Code of the Philippines was enacted, repealing BP 68. This new law, RA 11232, is the subject of Business Organization 2 in law school. So that's it.